Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel. Thank you for being here this morning. My name is Lollipop and this is an electric cargo bike. I've wanted one of these for a while and luckily I was able to collaborate with the brand Addmotor to review their M81 electric cargo bike. And if you don't know what a cargo bike is, here are some videos I took as an introduction to its capabilities. You can ride with a passenger. You can carry light objects. You can carry heavy objects. You can even be the passenger. This bike also has a bunch of cool features like 7 pedal assist modes, a throttle, and a max speed of 28 miles per hour. A horn that is very loud, big mountain tires for going off-road, and even turn signals on a bike. I'm going to make more videos on this bike in the future to show you all the fun things you can do with it. I've already ridden it around town and used it for exploring with my friends, and every single time I've taken it out, I've gotten a ton of compliments on how nice the bike looks and how much fun it is. People definitely love the color scheme, how practical it is for carrying cargo and other passengers. People say it looks like a motorcycle, and of course they love how fast it goes. But in this video, I'm going to be focusing on all of the main features on this bike and introducing the bike to you guys in case you want to get one for yourself. And if you do choose to get one of these after watching this video, I'd greatly appreciate you checking out my link in the description below, where you can check out Addmotor's website and all of the other bikes that they have available, including this M81 cargo electric bike. But let's get right into it by first talking about the build process. So this bike comes shipped to you in a box, and you have to put on the front wheel, fender, the front light, pedals, and the handlebar. And it's a fairly intuitive build process. It does take a little longer than other bikes because of how large the bike is, but it's not too bad for an average person to complete, especially since the company has an in-depth build video on YouTube to help you out. And I actually followed that myself. I'll link it in the description below if you are interested. And I'll quickly mention here that I weighed the bike in at around 75 pounds, so it is heavy, but surprisingly not too heavy for a cargo bike since normal fat tire e-bikes weigh around the same amount. It's also not much longer than a normal bike, being 75 inches long or 6 foot 3 inches, and you can see the bike here next to a size medium Trek Marlin, and they're actually almost the same length, so that's cool to see. And this bike is currently priced at $1,899 US, and for that amount of money, we have a lot of cool features. I will go over all of the components now, but e-bikes are definitely more about the battery and the motor, and this electric cargo bike is of course a lot about the frame as well, so I'll go over all of the important stuff first and then get to all of the little details here and there. This bike comes in one frame size only, which fits riders from 5 foot 4 inches to 5 foot 9 inches, and my bike here is in the color Army Green. It is a step-through frame design, so you can easily get on and off the bike, and it also has this handle in the middle for picking up the bike if you do need to carry it, which isn't too difficult actually since the frame is made from aluminum. It has bolts for a water bottle cage right here, so you can throw a bottle on the bike like I did, and bolts for a front rack here, as well as holes in the back for mounting some footrests so you can actually carry some extra passengers. And these specific footrests on the bike right now are sold separately by Addmotor as well for $99 US. And then on this side, we also have a nice durable kickstand to hold up the bike. The frame has internal cable routing in the front here for all of the display and controls cables, but in the rear, the cables are external along the frame. And the rear is really what makes this bike different from other bikes, since you have this very long rear rack that is built and welded into the frame of the bike itself, which makes it much more durable and able to hold a lot more weight, including 2 other people or whatever cargo you may want to carry. The rack itself measures 25.8 inches long by around 6 inches wide, and although the maximum payload for this bike is 350 pounds, this bike does feel like it can handle a lot more than that for sure. But onto the battery and motor, we have a 48 volt 20 amp hour Samsung battery paired to a 750 watt motor, which is pretty good for e-bikes currently, and I can definitely feel a good amount of torque and acceleration from this bike, so no complaints there. And I'll also mention that this bike can reach a top speed of 28 miles per hour on electric assist, which is close to the legal limit for an e-bike. And it even has a claimed range of at least 80 miles on a full charge when using pedal assist 1, which is also pretty amazing. Ultimately, all these specs are great for an e-bike, so I am impressed. The battery itself can be removed from the bike as so by lifting it up after inserting the Addmotor key I have here, and it can be charged on this side with the included charger. And now let's move on to this handlebar where we can see an LCD screen in the middle, a controller on the left side, and a throttle and shifter on the right side. The screen shows you some great information like your battery life on the top left and your current speed in the middle, and you can cycle through some different information on the top right of the screen by pressing the power button so you can see your odometer and trip info. The only thing I don't like about the screen is that sometimes it lags, so your current speed won't be exactly correct, but I'm kind of nitpicking here. The display for pedal assist level is on the bottom right, and it has 7 pedal assist modes, so more than enough for an e-bike, but all this info is pretty standard on an e-bike screen. Some cooler features are the integrated front and rear lights, which can be turned on or off by holding the top arrow button right here, and you can see the light icons turn on in the screen, and the screen itself gets brighter as well. The lights themselves are not the brightest out there, but they will work if you are not biking in a very dark area. You also have the horn button in the top middle here, which will sound the horn for as long as it is pressed, and the horn itself is definitely very loud. Take a listen. Now, it doesn't exactly sound like a horn in my opinion, but it is a loud noise to attract some attention. And finally, my favorite feature here is definitely the turn signals, which can be operated by pressing the left or right arrows on the controller. And as you can see, they flicker on just like the turn signals on a motor vehicle, which I think is so cool, and more e-bikes should definitely have this. The signals don't make any sound and there are no signals in the front, but it is still an awesome feature. You can also turn on the hazard lights here by holding the 2 left and right buttons, so that is great to see. And of course the display will show you if a signal is on or not by flashing the respective arrow. And on the right side, you have the throttle, which works great and can be switched on or off with this button so you don't accidentally engage it when you don't want to. And you also have the shifter right here for shifting through the gears in the drivetrain. And while we're here, I do want to mention that this handlebar is actually pretty nice. It's wide enough to provide a good amount of control and has enough rise to ride comfortably, but you can always change the angle of it by adjusting the stem right here, and you can even bring it lower or higher by messing with these spacers on the steer tube. Okay, enough with all the technology, let's go over the normal bike components now. I pretty much have no complaints on any of these, but I'll still glance over them. The bike does have a suspension fork, which definitely helps make the ride more comfortable, especially with the weight of 2 people on the bike. The fork has a lockout for making the suspension fully rigid for efficiency purposes, but I leave it in the open setting all the time and it works just fine. I also like how the fork is branded Addshocks because that's kind of funny since the company's name is Addmotor. The bike also has these metal fenders which are good quality and prevent you from getting dirty, and these large, awesome Kenda branded mountain tires. These are 20-inch diameter tires, so they are a smaller size than what you're used to probably, but they are 4 inches wide, which makes them absorb a lot of bumps on the road and make your ride more comfortable. They also have a good amount of traction with this tread pattern, and they are from a good brand, so no complaints here. And then I'm very happy with the brakes as well, since they are actually hydraulic disc brakes. Hydraulic brakes work much better than mechanical ones since they provide better stopping power and work better in all weather conditions. These brakes are actually branded by the Addmotor company as well, but they feel fine, and the bike does use wider 180mm diameter brake rotors in the front and in the rear for even better stopping power. Overall, although these brakes are not the highest in quality, I do appreciate them adding the hydraulic ones over the mechanical ones since they do feel better. Next, we have that drivetrain. Now this is nothing special, just a 7-speed Shimano drivetrain that is fairly entry level, but I do appreciate them adding this metal chain guard to protect the chain and your clothes, and another guard in the rear for protecting the rear derailleur itself since it can get damaged. I also like how they chose a Shimano Altus rear derailleur over the lowest end Shimano 30 that a lot of other e-bikes have. And finally, I will mention that the grips and seat are comfortable. I like how they look, and the seat actually has a nice grab handle on the back of it for a rear passenger, which is actually helpful. The grips sometimes move around on the handlebars unwillingly, but besides that, they are fine. And that's basically it for my components overview on this bike. Definitely ask any questions you may have in the comments below, and I'll try to answer them all in my next video. But yeah, overall, I am pretty impressed with this bike and all the components on it. I know I typically review very high-end mountain bikes and hybrids and things like that have much higher-end components, so these components may seem a little bit lower level than what you're used to seeing on my channel. However, like I mentioned before, this cargo e-bike is more about the frame and the battery and motor and screen and all that tech stuff. And all of that stuff I absolutely love. I think it's pretty high quality and works just fine. So for all the other components on the bike that may not be as high end, you don't really notice it as much on this bike because the motor itself is able to push the bike for pretty much as long as you would need it to go. But that's it for this video, everyone. Thank you so much for watching, and remember to check back for my next video where I showcase all of the fun stuff that you can do on this bike. As always, I hope all of you have a wonderful morning, and remember to keep biking.